I'm Doria Fleischer, your Community Engagement Coordinator. Here at Charles County Government, we always believe in the importance of sharing our citizens' histories and stories as much as possible. This year for African American History Month, we had the incredible experience of partnering with Charles County Public Schools in order to create facilitated conversations between 3 current high school students and 3 Pomonkey High School Alumni Association members. Sitting down with these students and alumni members was an incredible experience to hear how their generations both experienced African American history and Black culture in Charles County and in the United States. We hope you'll enjoy hearing their stories through their generational voices. We are at Lackey High School in Indian Head, Maryland, joined by Billy Thomas, who is Pomonkey High School Alumni Class of 1965, and Kennedy Hall, who will be graduating from Lackey in June 2025. And I love that there are 40 years difference between your graduation and yours, which makes this conversation, I think, going to be a really interesting one. So we've had a chance to get to know each other a little bit this morning and chat, and I want to have a chance for you to introduce yourself again to each other and to the public. So can I ask for you to go first, Mr. Thomas, and tell us a little bit about who you are and your connection to our community?
Okay. My name is Billy Thomas. I live in the Bryan Road area, which is not too far from the Lackey High School where we are stationed today. And I was born and raised in Marbury, Maryland, which is about half a mile from Lackey High School. And the only thing we had in the Marbury area was a little 3-room school. I went my first to 5th grade was in the Marbury Elementary School. We had one little store, grade store, where a lot of the Lackey High School students go down to get sandwiches, deli sandwiches today. And I eventually moved to Bryan's Road area after marriage. And then I went to the before that, of course, I went to the Pomonkey High School where we went my 6th grade year, and then I went to junior and high school. We didn't have middle school, so I went straight from elementary school to high school at the Pomonkey High School, which is in Pomonkey, Maryland, which now is classified as Indian Head, Maryland. And I graduated in 1965.
And I want to make sure to mention that you served our country. You were in the Army.
Yes, I was in the
Thank you for your service.
Thank you. I was in the United States Army. I was drafted in 1966. New world for me. I had to go and leave home, which I had never left home before. And I was in Vietnam in January of 1967 until June of 67, where I was injured, and unfortunately was hospitalized for at least 14 months, and then I did volunteer to go back to active duty for 3 months to finish my time up in the military.
Thank you for your service. I appreciate it. And we were talking before, you talked about Gray's Store, and that was,
yes.
You worked there. And yes. Kennedy, when we were talking before, you commented that Mr. Thomas got his first job at 10 years old, yeah? And you kind of said, 10 years old, yeah? Is that something that you can imagine doing?
Me personally, no, because when I was younger, I just like to, go outside and play most of the time. So I'm not sure if I could hold down a job at 10, but it's really cool that you did that at 10.
And can you tell us a little bit about you, please?
So my name is Kennedy Hall, and I am a sophomore at Lackey High School, and I went to Indian Head Elementary School, and at 4th grade, I went to J.C. Parks until middle school, and for 6th grade, I went to National Christian Academy, and then for 7th grade, I went to New Hope until 8th grade, and then for high school, I went to Bishop McNamara, and then about halfway through the year, I transferred to Lackey High School, and I've been there until today.
You've kind of seen all the schools that Charles County has to offer and beyond. That's great. Does Lackey feel like home at this point?
Yes, I actually felt more at home here because it's just like very close-knit and like community-centered in the school, which is just like, I love it here.
And I know from you talking about Pomonkey that that community-centered feel also is so important. So I'm intrigued to hear more about how, again, in that 40-year time span, what's the same and what's different. I want to focus today on that it is Black History Month, and I'd love to hear what Black History Month means to you, how it matters to you, what it means, how it affects your identity.
So Black History Month is just like a time to remember all those Black people in the past that they got these amazing accomplishments. And to me, it makes me feel like I can do the same thing as like a basketball player, and I want to do great things. I'm not scared because I know these people have done it in the past. And they influence me to have bravery and go forth with what I want to accomplish.
That's beautifully said. And when you hear that the generation before has inspired, you're part of that.
Right.
How does that feel?
Feels great. I mean, during the time I was going, we didn't think about racism or segregation or anything. We just went to school because we wasn't involved with, only blacks was around us. Teachers, students, bus drivers, janitors, everybody we saw was of color. And it was just natural to us. We did, as I got older, a teenager, I did realize that during that time, there's certain places in the county that we could not go by being of color. And it didn't bother me, because I was a home person. My mom kept me at home, and I didn't venture out much. So it didn't bother me much personally.
And the theme of this month's Black History Month is fighting oppression, the resistance that people of color in our country have felt always. What do you think is the greatest oppression that your generation faced?
My generation then, as I was growing up, basically we didn't face anything. We didn't realize. We just was happy. We did what we had to do, stayed home, played ball with the close neighbors outside. We played basketball. We had our own homemade goals and homemade basketballs outside. And at our house, we had a basketball court. Everybody didn't have one, so we had one in the backyard. And a few of the neighbors came out. We played basketball. I did play basketball around the house, but to us it was great. We got out to see our neighbors, and it was great.
Thank you. And Kennedy, when I'm sitting here, I am much older than you. I am not quite as old as you. But when I hear Mr. Thomas talking about that, it feels like that must have been so long ago, to not be able to go certain places and be kind of totally isolated from other cultures, other people. What does that sound like to you?
So to me, it sounds like, sounds like it was a good time when you're younger, like away from tech. But for me, I have been in and out of Charles County, so I've been in around lots of different cultures and people and religions, especially at the private schools. I've met so many kinds of people. So me personally, I haven't experienced any I can't go here, can't go there, because everyone was just eager to learn more about everyone. But I'm not saying that doesn't happen, because just turning on the news, you can see so many other people dealing with this oppression in the Black Lives Matter movement and the George Floyd case. It was just crazy, because these people are trying to hold down on Black people, and it's just sad to see. But I can definitely see how other people are dealing with this oppression, and I'm just I haven't dealt with it myself, but I can see how other people have.
What do you think is your generation's greatest celebration? Because we talked about the heavy, what your generation is still facing, and the oppression that still exists. What are the changes that you think your generation is going to be able to bring against that and to celebrate?
Oh, well, I can see changes here. So many different people, friend groups. Everyone's just so happy to be together. So I think they're going to take that outside of the school, and if they travel, they're going to bring it to other parts of the world and just show the world that it doesn't matter what you look like, where you come from. You just got to get along.
Well, I wanted to just kind of wrap up by asking if there's anything else that you would want Kennedy's generation to know, kind of the wisdom that you've gotten through time on earth that you could pass on?
I would say, love your neighbors. If you know them or not, they're your neighbors. Just love them. Do what you can for them, and listen to them. And then, that you learn a lot by just listening to elders or people older than you are. I know it's hard because you say, "Oh, they old schoolers, they old fuggies," but hey, we come a long way.
And Kennedy, I think one of the things that's so remarkable about your generation is that the youngest voices have been really powerful in recent years of kind of speaking up and saying this has to change. We want different. What would you, as the voice of your generation, what would you want Mr. Thomas to know?
So like you said, younger voices being heard. My brother actually has dealt with like some racist experiences, and he was also a student at Lackey. He goes to CSM now for early college, and he wrote a book about how to like deal with like the mental struggles, physical hardships, and just like how to control yourself and like become a better person from your past mistakes. So from like my generation to your generation, it's like we need to learn how to manage ourselves better. And like I read my brother's book. It was like, it's helped me a lot because sometimes it's just like stressful from like all the social media, other people, schoolwork, sports, it can get a lot. But I am learning along with like the other people in this generation how to handle ourselves and prepare for the real world.
Wonderful, thank you. I have really enjoyed hearing both of your voices and your stories. Thank you so much for being here today. Mr. Thomas, thank you for serving our country and continuing to be a leader in our community. And Kennedy, I have great excitement for what's to come in your adventures in basketball and life and beyond. So don't forget, wherever you travel in the world and go play, don't forget to come home too, okay?
Yes, of course.
Thank you so much for being here today.